I'm Trent. I'm a pastor in Atlanta, Georgia, and here are three books that have most transformed my life. The first one is Knowing God by J.I. Packer. A friend gave me this book at a time when I was really hungry to grow in my relationship with God, and I think he wanted me to really sink my roots deep, and for this not just to be a passing fad in my life. And this book really did that. It really showed me some things I had never known about the character of God, about some of the most important truths of Christian theology. This book changed my whole conception there. And Packer went on to become my personal favorite theologian, and I keep going back to this book, Knowing God by J.I. Packer. The second one is called Outgrowing the Ingrown Church. And you might be someone who's connected to a Christian community or Christian ministry, and you know that it's very easy for Christians, like anyone else, to get kind of focused on themselves, kind of ingrown, as this title is addressing, Outgrowing the Ingrown Church. A church planter and pastor that I worked with some years ago had our whole leadership team read this book. And Jack Miller, who is also an influence on Tim Keller and some other leaders in the church world today, he basically shows that it's Christ himself who was he's the outwardly focused one. It's Christ, the gospel, the promises of Scripture. Those are the things that can turn a person from being ingrown to outgrown, to be what's often called today missional. So I love this book. And then the last one is the oldest one, and this one's called The Life of God and the Soul of Man. And I discovered this book in some of the early pages of another good book, Pleasures of God by John Piper. And he told the story of this book, which was written by a young Scottish pastor in the mid-1600s who saw something that I think you would see almost anywhere you go in the world today, where he saw that people would have these three tendencies to mistake religion for stuff that you do, stuff that you know, stuff that just maybe a personal experience. And he had discovered that knowing Jesus Christ, that Christianity was something altogether different. It was the actual union between God and man, the life of God and the soul of man. And so he wrote this brief but very helpful book for his friend. It was discovered a generation later by a small group of guys who really wanted to know and follow God faithfully at Oxford in England. And the first of those guys were John and Charles Wesley. They gave this book to their friend George Whitefield, and it totally opened up his eyes to what true Christianity is, and was a huge part of sparking the Great Awakening in England and the U.S. So those are the three books that had the most impact in my life. Please let us know what you think about those or any other questions that you have.